Jessica learned to use her feet for tasks typically done with hands. She faced various challenges but developed remarkable dexterity and independence. Jessica Cox is the world's first licensed armless pilot and also holds a black belt in Taekwondo.
Similarly, in United States, we went and set up a center in the remotest possible place in Tennessee. People said, Sadhguru, this is not the place to go. Tennessee is a different kind of place. It's a very strong religious place, extreme, Bible Belt. Said, Sadhguru, you don't know, just the previous year, they'd burned down a Zen meditation center. Sadhguru, this happened, you don't go there. I said, see, all 100-rupee notes are supposed to be one way except the number. But 100-rupee note went crazy like this. Do you know a collector would pay a million rupees to buy that 100-rupee note? It's a special currency note, a freaky one. You can't buy anything out of it. But still it is a special currency note. See, when a child is handicapped, either physically or even mentally, a child is not suffering. Parents are suffering, isn't it? A child is incapable, but not suffering. Have you noticed this? Even a mentally handicapped child, he's not suffering. Actually, he's more free of suffering than a lot of other children. But parents are suffering because their child is not like somebody else's child. It's the parent who is suffering because the parent knows the consequence of this child living in the society. He doesn't have certain capabilities, what will happen to him tomorrow. With these concerns, the parent is suffering. Isn't it so? The child is not suffering. The child is incapable. Handicapped means just that. Handicapped, the word itself says that. So, a handicap has come. Why? A certain manufacturing defect, that's what you're talking about, isn't it? All this may sound very brutal to you, the way I'm talking. It's very brutal. But I didn't create this brutality. Life is like this, isn't it? Yes? Your creator is brutal, I'm only explaining his brutality. I'm bringing clarity to his brutality. I did not create this brutality, isn't it? Yes or no? Yes. Somebody is born with half a brain, I didn't create it. But if you are saying this is the work of the creator, this is creator's brutality. Either you see it the way it is and see what we can do out of it, or you don't see it. Today, we no more call them as handicapped children, we call them special children. They're special because they're not like other children, they're different. That's a good way to look at it. They're special children. It is just that because you're comparing the child to some other child, you're thinking it is handicapped. Otherwise, it is a special child. Suppose, do you know, you're printing currency notes. All 100-rupee notes are supposed to be one way except the number. But 100-rupee note went crazy like this. Do you know a collector would pay a million rupees to buy that 100-rupee note? It's a special currency note, a freaky one. You can't buy anything out of it. But still it is a special currency note. This is just like this. A child, something has gone, not the way it should go normally, it's gone some other way. You don't have to make everything into your suffering, that's what I'm saying. People who have normal children, who have all their limbs and everything in place, are they not suffering? Because the child is not listening to what you think they should do, you will suffer, isn't it? So your suffering has nothing to do with the handicap, nothing to do with well-being. Your suffering is just that if anything happens that you think should not happen, you will suffer. Or in other words, you want the whole existence to happen the way you think it should be. It'll never be so. In what form it comes to you, it doesn't matter. It comes to you in the form of a handicapped child, it comes to you in the form of a ruined business, it comes to you in the form of death, sickness, which way it comes, it doesn't matter. But your demand is just this: existence should happen according to your will. It will not happen that way.
Then what do you do if it doesn't happen? How do you deal with it if it doesn't go according to your will?
If the whole existence goes according to your will…
It doesn't go according to your will.
No, suppose it goes according to your will.
Your own existence.
Yes. The whole existence goes according to your will, Seema. Where should I go? It should happen according to my will also, isn't it? So some things happen your way, something happen my way.
Namaste. My name is Danya Ravi, and firstly I would love to express my gratitude to Sadhguruji for establishing Isha Foundation and Isha Music, because for me, music heals a lot. That's one of the tools I use whenever I come across any problem, and there is no day that goes by without listening to Isha Music. And I'm very grateful to you for that. And yeah, so talking about my health condition, I'm born with a rare genetic disease called osteogenesis imperfecta, commonly known as brittle bone disease, which means my bones are extremely fragile, just like a glass. And I've faced more number of fractures than the number of bones in anyone's body. So today, more than a question, I have a humble wish. I'm a regular follower of your everyday saying, so it would be nice if one of the coming days, if you could quote something about disability, as I believe this opportunity would create a wider visibility for survivors of people with disability. And yeah, I would be happy if that quote is done along with our pic.
Along with?
Our pic. Photograph. Photograph.
We will.
Yeah, along
Yes,
with our photograph.
Swami,
If
take
you're…
a good picture.
No, I need you and me.
Oh, we'll do that.
Please, this is entirely for my request for this is entirely for spreading awareness about rare diseases, because it's only through awareness it can be controlled. I thank you so much. And yeah, Sadhguruji, I'm hoping it happens sometime very soon.
Very soon.
Thank you.
It's our privilege to have you here. Well…
With another question? Here maybe? Oh, sorry, sir.
See, different people have different types of disabilities. And I will do that, we will do that. Life has come in so many forms, but societies have decided what is normal and what is not normal. But actually, if we compare every one of you who have all the four limbs intact and whatever, you compare to the next person, in some aspect of life, are you not disabled? If you run with Mr. Bolt, won't you feel like a cripple? Hello? With two good legs, won't you feel like a cripple? Yes. So let's not brand ourselves or anybody else one way or the other, because life has come in so many ways. You just have to respect that and do your best about it. Because it's a miracle in the sense, just now Shashank was talking about the miracle that he did today morning, that he makes ragi dosa into a human being. Isn't it a miracle? And this ragi dosa was made with the soil that we walk upon, yes or no? Just the soil which became food, and food which became flesh and bone. In such a phenomenally complex process, which we have taken for granted, unfortunately, certain things sometimes did not work the way we think it should be. So, never call yourself disabled. Well, you're one way, I'm another way. I am disabled in one way, you're disabled in another way. Some way, every one of us, if we compare ourselves to somebody, all of us are disabled in some sense, isn't it? But see what an intelligent mind you have.
Because of my disability, I am here today. Otherwise, the IAM people…
And because of that, we're going to have a quote. I'm saying, bones are breaking, it's painful, unfortunate. But most people who are being labeled as normal, they're all breaking up their brains every day. Not bones, brains. They call it stress, they call it anxiety, they call it so many things. But literally breaking up the brain, isn't it, in some way? The whys and whats are not necessary because we need to understand the physical form is a mechanical process. Sometimes things will go wrong with it. It may come normal and go wrong, or in the very womb manufacturing something can go wrong. This has got nothing to do with that person, it's got something to do with variety of things because it's such a complex process. Such a complex process that something little off sometimes. But that should not determine what and how you live, because how we live physically may be determined by many things. But how we live within ourselves, nobody can decide except us, isn't it? Nobody else can decide how I live within myself. So in that sense, nobody is disabled. Why spiritual process is very important is because in body, no person can claim he has a perfect body because somebody else could be in some other way. If it comes to mind, nobody can claim that they have a perfect mind. All of us disabled in some way physically, mentally, compared to somebody else, isn't it? But a dimension which is beyond this physiology and psychology, the psychological and the physiological dimensions, beyond this, that dimension, which we unfortunately have to use this corrupted word called spirituality, in this state, all life is just same. The reason and the significance of why a spiritual process must be prevalent across the planet is, spiritual process does not mean looking up or looking down. It's about turning inward and touching a dimension beyond our physiological and psychological structures. In this state, there is simply no difference between you and me and anybody and anybody. This is why it becomes significant. We can talk about equality as much as we want, but when we use our body or physical presence as the front end, there is no equality. Do what you want. If we use our mind as the front end, no equality, do whatever you want. One is like that, one is like this, one is like that, this is how it is. But if we use this dimension of life which is beyond our body and mind, these two accumulations of body and mind, beyond this if you look, here everything is same. If this one experience enters humanity, you will find a very fabulously inclusive existence here. Doesn't matter who's come with what capability or not, everything, every life will have a place. But right now, we are setting standards based on physiological and psychological competence and saying this is standard, this is substandard. No, don't do that, because can you say a carrot is a lesser life than you? Or a grasshopper is a lesser life than you? Because they can live without you, you cannot live without them. That's a fact, isn't it? They can very easily live without you, but you cannot live without them. Nature has given us this possibility that today we have the intelligence to be above all this life. But when you rise to a certain level, it's very important. If you're crude nonsense, you will think this is a time to dominate. Or if you rise to a certain level where rest of the life knowingly or unknowingly is looking up to you, this is a time to include and merge with everything. This is not a time to dominate, isn't it? Because once you dominate, you alienate from everything. I'm telling you because you're all going to be managers. If you want to manage people, I was teaching a 3-day program to one of the top companies in the world, 25 top managers of that company, an international giant. They were about 35 people, 25 people, and our volunteers were about 9 volunteers. So we were doing this program. Our volunteers are made like this day and night. The basic qualification is you're crazy, you know. That means you're not thinking, what will happen to you, what will I get? Nobody's thinking, simply they're working their life out. So they saw them like this and said, Sadhguru, where do you get such people? Because these are companies which are always looking for attrition. I said, you don't get them, you got to make them. How do you make such people? I said, you should make them fall in love with you. Oh, because once they're in love with you, they will do whatever is needed. Now, how do you make them fall in love with us? I said, first you must fall in love with them. I said, oh, they don't pay us for that. So once you try to dominate, you alienate. Once you alienate, it's hell to manage people. It's hell. It's better you take sannyas and live somewhere alone. Because managing even one person when they're alienated from you is hell. In inclusion, management will happen effortlessly. So this inclusion has to come means human life or human beings have to come to at least a little bit of inner experience which is beyond body, which is beyond mind. Because when it comes to body, your body is different, my body is different. Do what you want, this will stay different. We will think it's different at least as long as we live. Only when they bury us, we know it's all the same soil. When you compare mentally, my mind is different, your mind is different, do what you want, they will always remain different. But if you look at this as life, there is no such thing as my life and your life. This is a living cosmos. The question is only how much of life did you capture in this? This is all that matters. It's not the size of the body, it's not the size of your brain. How much life did you capture within yourself will determine the scale and scope of life. How big a life you live simply depends on how much life have you captured. So if you want to capture more life than you have right now, the simple thing that you have to do is, you must open up the boundaries of your individuality. Your individuality is slowly becoming a concrete shell that nobody can break through. If you obliterate the boundaries of your individuality, then we say this is yoga. Yoga does not mean twisting your body, turning upside down, wearing Lulu pants. Yoga means union. Union means the boundaries of your individuality, consciously you obliterate it. Now, there is a life larger than anybody can imagine happening within you. Because of a large-scale life, everything will come naturally your way. You don't have to go and set up your shop in a busy place. Wherever you set up, they will come. They cannot help. I must tell you this from experience. In continuation, we're talking, okay? When we want to set up the yoga center, I went and chose a place which had no road, which is just right next to the rainforest, and it's remote as it can get. It's a proper revenue land, but remote, nobody would want to go there. When I said this is where I want to set up the yoga center. We had a trust, Isha Foundation. Out of 6 trustees, 4 of them dropped out because they thought I'm crazy. They wanted to find a 5-acre plot inside the city or just next to the city, start a center where people will come. They said, nobody is going to come, this man has lost his mind. Well, today it's become one of the most prominent places in the country, in the world, actually. Similarly, in United States, we went and set up a center in the remotest possible place in Tennessee. People said, Sadhguru, this is not the place to go. Tennessee is a different kind of place. It's a very strong religious place, extreme, Bible Belt. Said, Sadhguru, you don't know, just the previous year, they'd burned down a Zen meditation center. Sadhguru, this happened, you don't go there. I said, see, this was all in the northern area in Michigan. So I said, see, I know how to transform people, but I don't know how to change the weather. So I go Tennessee. And they said, why in such a remote place? I said, see, I don't know how you look at it. I looked at this map of United States. I drove across, crisscrossed United States just to look at the terrain and the temperatures and things. Then I said, this is the place. I looked at the map and said, this is where, because if I draw a 12-hour drive kind of circle, 60% of United States population is around us. I said, this is where I will be. In the remote place, because it's so remote, we bought over 2,000 acres and today it's a buzzing center. Why I'm saying all this to you is because for a low-hanging fruit, you live a low-hanging life simply because something seems to be easy right now. But if you are very clear what you want to create, whether it's a business or an industry or you just want to make yourself… Above all, what kind of human being do you want to become? That's the most important thing. Don't start any enterprise or job, all these things are on the side. The real thing is, what kind of life will this become? This is the real thing, isn't it? If you just focus on this one thing, if you obliterate your boundaries of your individuality, you will see this will become a large-scale life. When it becomes a large-scale life, everything that happens around you will be of a certain scale, naturally. Of course, some things are decided by times in which we live. If you were an IT professional 1,000 years ago, you wouldn't know what to do, isn't it? So there are times.
Here are few individuals who were born physically challenged but have achieved extraordinary accomplishments, showcasing incredible determination and talent. Nick Vujicic. Condition: Tetra Amelia syndrome, a rare disorder characterized by the absence of all 4 limbs. Born on December 4, 1982 in Melbourne, Australia, Nick faced significant physical and emotional challenges from a young age. Despite his condition, he learned to write using 2 toes on his left foot and mastered computer use and other personal needs. Nick Vujicic is an internationally acclaimed motivational speaker, New York Times best-selling author, and evangelist. He founded the non-profit organization Life Without Limbs and has delivered inspirational speeches in over 70 countries, reaching millions of people. His books, including Life Without Limits, have inspired many to overcome their own obstacles. Nick also starred in short film The Butterfly Circus, which won several awards. Jessica Cox. Condition: born without arms due to rare congenital disorder. Early life: born on February 2nd, 1983 in Sierra Vista, Arizona. Jessica learned to use her feet for tasks typically done with hands. She faced various challenges but developed remarkable dexterity and independence. Jessica Cox is the world's first licensed armless pilot and also holds a black belt in Taekwondo. She graduated from the University of Arizona with a degree of psychology and has become a motivational speaker advocating for people with disabilities. Her accomplishments are a testament to her resilience and determination, inspiring many to pursue their dreams regardless of physical limitations. Aaron Fotheringham. Condition: spina bifida, a birth defect that affects the spine and leaves him using a wheelchair. Born on November 8, 1991 in Las Vegas, Nevada, Aaron faced challenges due to his condition but was determined to participate in extreme sports. Aaron Fotheringham, also known as Wheels, is a pioneer in the sports of WCMX, wheelchair motocross. He performed the first backflip in a wheelchair at the age of 14 and has since executed numerous stunts, including double backflips. Aaron has won several medals in the X Games and has inspired many through his demonstrations and motivational speaking, showing that physical limitations don't define one's potential. Madison Tevlin. Condition: Down syndrome, a genetic disorder caused by the presence of an extra chromosome 21. Early life: born on December 1st, 2002 in Canada, Madison faced speech and developmental challenges but displayed a passion for singing and performing from a young age. Madison Tevlin gained widespread recognition after her YouTube video of her singing John Legend's All of Me went viral. Despite the challenges associated with Down syndrome, including difficulty with speech and muscle tone, Madison's performance showcased her talent and determination. She has since become an advocate for individuals with Down syndrome, appearing in media campaigns and speaking at events to promote inclusion and awareness. Jama Gimir. Condition: cerebral palsy, a group of disorders affecting movement and muscle tone or posture caused by damage that occurs to the immature brain. Born on July 7, 1980 in the village of Kachide, Nepal, Jamak was unable to walk or speak, but she showed early signs of intelligence and creativity by learning to read and write using her feet. Jhamak Gimre is a renowned Nepali writer and poet. Despite her severe physical disabilities, she wrote her first book using her left foot. Her autobiography, Jeevan Khada Ki Phool, Life is Thorn or Flower, won the prestigious Madan Puraskar, Nepal's highest literary honor. Jhamak's work, often reflecting themes of social justice and the struggles of people with disabilities, has inspired many in Nepal and beyond. These individuals have defied the odds and societal expectations, demonstrating that being born with physical challenges does not preclude extraordinary achievements and contributions. Their story continues to inspire and empower others around the world.